It's January 23rd, and we're going to release our next real estate roundup. It's also Vancouver East. We recently did Vancouver East detached. This is going to be condominium, specifically apartments, not townhouse. So we're going to talk about apartments only in the east side of Vancouver here, see what the action's been. So it's January 23rd. If we look at the volume, we're always going to start these roundups looking at the volume. We have December with 61 sales. We have December a year ago at 58. So it looks pretty much the same as it was last year. However, if I go to December 2021, we had 145. So for the last 2 years, we're at a third of the volume of transactions that we were in that banner year of 2021. If I go back another year, it's 148. So another busy banner year. So the sales transactions of apartments in the east side of Vancouver are a shadow of their former self. Now, let's talk about the sales price. If I go to the HPI index on the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver, it's going to show our current index at 693. If I go a year ago, it shows lower at 672. So a slight increase. However, what an interesting year. It's showing it went up and back down, and that the turning point was August. So according to the HPI index, which is probably accurate, we had a pivot halfway through the year. As we're talking about sales prices, of course, we want to look at the paired sales. So I do have some paired sales here. Now, with apartments, it's a little bit easier. It doesn't have to be the same unit that we sold. It could be a very similar one. With these resales, I try to stay with newer inventory only. If we're going older and I'm using a different unit, but similar, one may have different updates. So these are all relatively new. The first pair we're going to talk about is at 5470 Ormadale, which is in Collingwood, near Kingsway. Actually, this is a true resale. It's 802, sold November 2022 for $5.25, resold April 2023 for $562. So we do see about a 6% increase from November 2022 to April 2023. That coincides with the HPI price that the Real Estate Board told us. They told us that it went up at first. Now let's see if the rest of their curve remains valid. 5058 Joyce, also in the Collingwood area, 1002, sold in March, end of March, for $590. 1102 sold for $550 in December. So we have a 10% drop from the end of March to the beginning of December on this apartment. These are almost the same. They are both O2 units. The building's only 2 years old, so it's not possible for one to have more updates than the other, at least that the market would pay back. So you have a drastic drop in price. Let's talk about 8533 River District Crossing. I want to talk about a resale there, a 03 unit. 1103 sold for $925 on May 5th, 2023. And 1403 sold for $895 on Jan 3rd, 2024. So we have a drop of about 3-4%. And actually, the second sale is a higher level, so probably even close to 5%. So we have from 8533 River District Crossing, which is in the River District, of course, off Marine, demonstrating about a 4 to 5% drop from May to January. So this shows that there was a drop in the market, that the HPI is correct, and that drop started probably around the summer of 2023 and doesn't look to have turned yet. If it will turn at all, we shall see. So back to Real Estate Roundup, East Vancouver apartment tracking 2023. We've come to the conclusion, based on the HPI released by the MLS, and based on our resale analysis, that we have an up and down year, that the market went up from about January to the summer, and then it came down. So where is it at now? Well, as I speak to you, there are currently 314 apartments for sale in East Vancouver. That's up slightly from a year ago at 299. A year prior to that, it was 270. So we have, for the time of year, a relatively flat amount of inventory. However, I do see that the number of available units dropped sharply from November to December. Tells me a lot of inventory is pulled off the market. Why? People don't want to lock in those losses. We had a market in the apartment sector in East Vancouver go down from August to December. So people who are selling their homes, their apartments, they're saying, no, I don't want to experience that loss. I'm going to take it off the market. So the inventory corrected itself because the price went down, which is interesting. And it shows you how you have multiple factors happening at once to make a market. So at this point, the inventory is normal for this time of year. What's going to happen? What's the forecast? This one's not quite as easy. I'm going to go on a limb and say we're going to have an increase. Why? Because we had a recent decrease and because we have the same factors coming into play this year. We have interest rates probably coming down. We have increased demand. We have single family going up. So if it goes up, it's going to push across to the other sectors. And we have the end of a downslope. So it's not going to keep going down. People don't want to lock in those losses. So the only reason why this could be potentially wrong is if we have a ton of new inventory coming on, but there's not going to be enough to outweigh this demand. I'm going to predict about a 5% increase for 2024, specifically apartment properties in East Vancouver. We have had a correction. I think it's going to bounce back. I don't think it's going to go crazy. It'll never go up as much as land goes up. Land always goes up the most.